Bucchetti wins a wild one at the Valley. Rudolph takes the Costco Memorial at Humberstone. We catch up with the point leader on the All-Star Circuit of Champions Series. Robbie, don't do it. Come on, bro. Really? Come on. RPW. Stay dry, my friends. Hello and welcome to Race Pro Weekly. I'm your host, Mike Warren. Last Sunday was the annual Pete Costco Memorial at the Brewerton Speedway. Let's head north of the border for our opening highlight brought to you by Landho Maintenance. Gotta love the way that they determine starting positions for this race with the dump trucks, and Mike Bowman is one happy man down there in front as he would start on the pin with the 71 machine in the 75-lap Pete Costco Memorial. Matt Williamson working it up on the top side right away as he would look for the race lead on the outside lane. Here's Gary Lindbergh working his way along with Ryan Susi trying to push his way up through the field. Williamson not going to waste any time as he works it up off at turn number 2. They're side by side, but Williamson would take the race lead down the back straightaway. 62 of Eric Rudolph trying to work his way up into the top 5. He does by getting by Susi. Here's Gary Lindbergh, who's having a very strong rookie year in modified competition, working it up on the outside lane as he gets around Bowman. Eric Rudolph going to follow right on the outside lane as well, trying to make something happen. He would take that spot away. And now Rudolph going to work for second on Gary Lindbergh as they make their way up through on the inside. Caution will come out for a couple cars, including CB3 involved up in turn number 3. That's Chad Brockman for those of you scoring at home as they work their way down the backstretch as Matt Williamson still with the race lead. But here Chris Steele going to make his presence known on the inside lane. Steele trying to get by the Rudolph 62 machine up as Matt Williams continuing to lead this one way out in front. Williamson holding on up on the outside lane. Rudolph starting to reel him in a little bit more. Here's Rudolph working it up off the corner. Holy slide job by Eric Rudolph as he would take the race lead away. The 19 looking to follow on the inside lane is Tommy Flanagan working it up on the top side as well as the caution will come out for Tyler McPherson in the 777. Off of the restart, here's Eric Rudolph pushing to the inside lane as Williamson with another shot at him off the corner, but the 62 just going to drive away as he would continue to lead this one as a little bit of a logjam back through the pack. Has some bump-a-daisy action going on. Meanwhile, Chris Steele really starting to pedal the work on the 6 machine of Williamson as the 28 also going to push up on the outside as the 28Z of Lindbergh really trying to pedal to get by Chris Steele. Working it up off of turn number 2. That time he'd find the momentum and power underneath them. It would be Lindbergh moving into that number 3 spot, but time was running out in this one as Eric Rudolph would bring him off of turn number 4 and pick up the win in the Pete Costco Memorial. Matt Williamson would finish in second, Chris Steele third, Gary Lindbergh fourth, and Ryan Susi would round out the top 5. Other winners on the night, Brad Rouse would pick up the win in the Sportsman. Rush Late Models would be won by Dennis Lunger Jr., Street Stocks by Bill Bleach Jr., Jason Kutu in the Mini Stocks, and Dylan Lord picking up the win in the Pro 4 Trucks. With just 2 weeks to go at Lebanon Valley, Brett Hearn needed a top finish to put a stranglehold on the point lead. Could he get it done? We'll start you off with Pro Stock action. Final lap of the King of Dirt Series race. Jay Corbin and Daniel Sanchez make contact coming to the line, and Sanchez pulls off the photo finish victory as he picks up the win in memory of Jimmy Langenbach in the old Buzzard 30. The modified feature now, John Rochelle would lead the field to the green in the 30-lap modified feature event. As he would make his way up through turn number 1 and 2, he'd get out of shape, gets into Kyle Hoffman, who barrel rolls it 7.5 times down the backstretch. He would be okay, but the car not so much. A number of cars involved. Kenny Tremont in there as well, along with Brian Berger. Keep that in mind. Off of the restart, Robbie Pitcher would take the race lead, working its way up through turn number 1 and 2 on the outside lane. Tyler Dipple, last week's winner, trying to make his move up through as well, along with the Wild Child. Contact between Dipple, Gilardi, and the 20 of Hearn, as Andy Bucchetti quickly going to make his way up through the field, pushing into the number 2 spot as the caution comes out for the 17 of Elmo Reckner. That would bring out the yellow. Brett Hearn would come down pit road with rear end issues, and that would end his night, which means for Keith Black and Kenny Tremont, it was time to pounce. Off of the restart, look at the 34 of Andy Bacchetti working his way to the inside of the 42 of Matt Papello. Down the back straightaway, off of turn number 4 they go. New second place man, that would be Bacchetti, as Tremont starts to mount his challenge up through the field after a broken shock. Paul Gilardi in there along with the 25 of Chan Jesio and the 74 of J.R. Hefner fighting for position. Meanwhile, Bacchetti dives to the inside lane trying to get by Robbie Pitcher. He'd make the momentum stick off at turn number 2. New race leader, that would be the 34B. Brian Berger, who was in the wreck earlier in the feature, working his way up, trying to get into the number 2 spot. And here's Kenny Tremont lurking right behind the top 5. Behind Jesio and Hefner for position as now Berger slides underneath Pitcher to take spot number 2 away. Berger would grab that position. Here comes Tremont really lurking behind J.R. Hefner as he was driving like a man possessed on the inside lane, trying to get up into the top 5 as he crack it and get by the 74, then get by the 17 for third and set his sights on brother-in-law Brian Berger with time running out. Final lap, Tremont going to go up on the outside lane and take the spot away. He would finish second, though, as Andy Bacchetti would pick up his 4th win of the 2016 season. Tremont would finish in second, which would now bring up an 8-point deficit behind Brett Hearn coming into the final Saturday night. Brian Berger would finish in 3rd, J.R. Hefner 4th, and Robbie Pitcher 5th. Keep in mind, Keith Flack also sits 25 out with just 1 week to go. Kenny Tremont would pick up both wins in small block modified action. As you saw earlier, Daniel Sanchez grabs a win in the Pro Stock. Dan Cody would pick up the win in Pure Stock number 1, Chris Streeter in Pure Stock number 2, and Jeff Meltz Jr. in Pure Stock number 3. Orange County Fair Speedway has seen its different share of winners through 2016, but a couple of big names have been shut out of victory lane while still contending for the point title. Would that stay the same Saturday night? Stuart Friesen and Chris Schultz, yes, you heard that correctly, going to lead the field to the green in the 30-lap feature out of the Orange County Fair Speedway. Is Stewie going to take the early lead? But Johnny Lito ain't going to have an early good start to this one as he in a little bit of TRU-BLE trouble on the back straightaway as that brings out the caution. Off of the restart, it would be Friesen back out at the front of this one. Here's Jimmy Horton working on the inside, trying to take the number 4 spot down the back straightaway, with Jerry Higbee and LJ Lombardo right there behind him as the sensational one looking for his first win at the Speedway since 1996, trying to push his way up through the field. Meanwhile, here comes Tim Hindley working on the inside of Billy Van Imwagen with Jeremy Markle right there in front of him as well as they battle down the back straightaway. Hindley then going to slide up in front of the Land Home Maintenance car number 3 of LJ Lombardo. Lombardo going to try to battle back on the inside lane, but going to have trouble as that would end the night for the 3 machine. Off the restart, here comes Hollywood Craig Mitchell looking to pull to the inside of Stewie. Down the back straightaway as Friesen holding on to the lead. Here's Chris Schultz working on Jimmy Horton up off at turn number 4. He gets a little contacted coming down the front stretch as that was Tommy Meyer going to get in on the fun. And then Schultz going to go around as that's going to bring the yellow out onto the speedway again. Off the restart, Jerry Higbee right there on the inside lane, now going to try to pressure Stuart Friesen up into turn number 1 and 2, as Hindley now going to ride the outside, 3-wide battle, as Splitsville down the back stretch was Higbee and Horton get by Hollywood Craig Mitchell through the corner, and then Higbee going to try to keep his momentum riding up on the top side, as he would get by him as the caution will come out for Matt Janiak. Friesen looking like he had a little trouble on the left front of that machine as he would continue to lead this event. We'll see if it could hold up as they drag race down the front straightaway up through turn number 1 and 2. Hindley going to push to the inside of Jerry Higbee looking for the number 3 spot, working his way up through turn number 3 and 4, but then Hindley slides in front of Higbee. He'll take that spot away, working it up through turn number 1 and 2. Hindley going to continue to go to work as he would push to the outside of the 43 of Jimmy Horton up off at turn number 3 and 4. Hindley looking like he's driving with some swoop beneath the sheet metal in this one, but meanwhile, battle for the lead as here comes Jimmy Horton up on the outside lane, and oh baby, new race leader, that is the 43. Horton going to keep it moving as here comes Hindley pushing to the inside of Stuart Friesen for the number 2 spot at the white flag, but for the first time since 1996, the sensational one, Jimmy Horton, goes to victory lane at Orange County. Tim Hindley would finish in 2nd, Stuart Friesen coming home 3rd, Jerry Higbee 4th, Tommy Meyer in 5th. Other winners on the night, Sportsman races will go to Frankie Venezia in the first one and Jeff Hulseful in Sportsman number 2. Patrick Reiser would be the rookie sportsman winner. Jim Maher would pick up the win in the street stocks. Darrell Hulbert would grab the win in the vintage mods. It's now time for our Kaiser Aluminum Wheels fan poll question, which is, who will win the Lebanon Valley Speedway Championship between Brett Hearn, Kenny Tremont, and Keith Flack? Head to www.facebook.com/RaceProWeekly to cast your answer, and we'll read the answers on next week's show. Now to last week's question, which was, what 4 racetracks would you pick if you could have a dirt modified speed weeks? Well, we added up all the votes and the percentages, and this is what the top 4 were. 19% go to Lebanon Valley, and 14% each out of the votes go to Utica Rome, Albany Saratoga, and Wheatsport. Rolling Wheels, Fonda, Fulton, Brewerton, 5 Mile Point, Williams Grove, Canandaigua also had votes cast toward the Speed Weeks. Coming up on Race Pro Weekly, we'll head to a couple of Friday night tracks as we go to Malta and Brewerton to see how the point battles are shaping up. Reputable, reliable, results. That's what you get when you call Rick and the professionals at RCT Roofing. Quality service at fair prices. RCT gets the job done, just like Nick Stone and the RCT Pro Stock. RCT Roofing, we've got you covered.
I'm Brian from 1-800-GOT-JUNK. This is my main man Tom and my other main man Tom.
You never know how much junk you've got until you move.
Point to something you wish would disappear.
Would it be possible to... It's gone!
All you have to do is point.
Where have you been all my life?
We make junk disappear. All you have to do is point.
There's only one place in the Capital Region for you to get the full racing action. Stop down at the Bobco video booth at the track or call 518-399-0937. Bobco Racing Video, the next best thing to being there. Welcome back to Race Pro Weekly as the track honoring Hector Stratton for all the memories at the Speedway as he finishes up his career here this season. To the modified feature now, Bobby Hackle will take the early race lead in that full throttle RC car number 97 machine, debuting a new 2017 chassis, working his way up on the top side with some power. Mark Johnson trying to work his way up through the field, trying to cut down the deficit and close in on Brett Hearn as he was just 9 points behind him heading into this feature revamp. Racing will continue on the back straightaways. Here comes the 44. Stuart Friesen working his way on the inside lane. He get by Rich Ronca for position. Matt DiLorenzo going to try to go to the inside of Jesse Mueller. Narrowly misses the implement tire, going 3 wide with Mark Keselowski down the back stretch as the 44 of Friesen was on the move early and often in this feature. Brett Hearn trying to work his way up when him and Keith Flack having to avoid contact as Craig Seeley and the 17 of Robbie Pitcher come together. Matt DiLorenzo having to go to pit road as his crew working over the cars. The green would come back out, and as that happened, motor trouble on the 97 of Bobby Hackle, and the White Knight Mark Johnson just barely missing him coming down the front stretch. They go back to green flag formation as Stuart Friesen already working his way up into the number 2 spot, looking to battle with Elmo Reckner up off of turn number 2. Brett Hearn trying to chase down the rest of the field as Mark Johnson has gotten by as well, working his way up on the inside lane. The battle will continue as they would fight their way through as caution will come out for the Evolution Construction Services car number 21 Pia Pep Karate. And off of the restart, J.R. Hefner makes contact with the implement tire, and that's going to wreck his front end and end his night. A tough break for the Upstate Utility 74. Off of that restart, Elmo Reckner still having control. Here's Chris Vernold working it up on the top side as those three look to break away. Ronnie Johnson going to make his presence known as well as Mark Johnson working his way to the inside lane. Take a look at this battle for the lead, though. Stuart Friesen going to push down to the inside, but Elmo ain't giving it up that easy, folks. Working it up on the top side comes a Wendy-sponsored number 17 machine as the yellow comes out onto the speedway as the 115 of Kenny Tremont has trouble, and that would knock him out of point contention. Off of the restart, Stuart Friesen going to take control of this one, and this was an important one for Mark Johnson as he had to try to get away from the Jersey Jet Brett Hearn a little bit more. Friesen will continue to lead this one. Johnson holding on to the number 5 spot right now as Chris Vernold gets up off the loose stuff. He would now pull it into 4th, work his way on the inside, trying to get by Ronnie Johnson. He grabbed 3rd away from him and then trying to get Elmo Reckner right at the end for second, and he would do that, but that's as far as he would go as Stuart Friesen picks up another big win at the Albany Saratoga Speedway. As Mark Johnson would have to settle for second, Ronnie Johnson third, Elmo Reckner fourth, and Brett Hearn would round out the top five, setting up a one-point showdown this coming Friday night at Albany Saratoga between Hearn and Johnson. Other winners on the night, Jeremy Pitts picked up the Sportsman win, giving him a one-point lead over Connor Cleveland in Sportsman competition. Derek Bourne picked up the win in the Limited Sportsman. Robbie Speed with his fifth win of the year in the Pro Stocks, and the Street Stocks, the Chase Ossaker. Larry White and Jimmy Phelps have put on a classic battle out at the D-shaped Dirt Demon in 2016. You'd have to expect that would continue with just 2 weeks to go. To the D-shaped Dirt Demon we go, and oh boy, did it get wild. Car goes around, and Doug Williams going to go up and over many times. And, well, we weren't done yet. Downtown Davey Brown going to go up and over into turn number 4, and man, these flips are crazy in these mod lights. And this is just one wild week at the racetrack. Meanwhile, modified feature. Joe August Jr. going to take the early race lead. The Heil driver going to try to push his way past up on the outside lane as he brings him up off at turn number 2 for the runner-up spot with Vic Coffey right there in tow. Coffey and Heil going to go side by side down the back straightaway as the captain will move into the number 2 spot, trying to chase down Joe August. Now he's going to switch lanes, go to the top side, rim ride up through 3 and 4, and try to take the race lead away off of the corner. And as they drag race to the line, Vic Coffey would be your new race leader. Coffey would nose out ahead down the back straightaway, working it through turn number 3 and 4. And the captain, Vic Coffey, going to go to victory lane at the Brewerton Speedway. Chad Phelps would finish in second. Jimmy Phelps with a strong run, cutting the point lead to 1. Behind Larry White, he would finish in third. Joe August Jr. fourth. And the Heil driver, Chris Heil, would finish in fifth. Other winners on the night, Ron Davis III would grab the win in the Sportsman. Joe Isabel in the Mod Lights, and Chris Banofsky in the 4 cylinders. The Merrittville Speedway sees Pete Bicknell as the point leader with a short time left to go. Could Mr. Small Block extend? 35 strong for the small blocks out at the Merrittville Speedway as the 96 of Fast Freddie Carlton going to lead him up through turn number 1 and 2 with Wayne Kahn up on the outside. And I mean the outside, as he loses a number of positions as he jumps off the cushion. Here comes the real deal Chris Steele working it up on the outside lane in that number 3 machine. He would take the race lead away down the back straightaway with Gary Lindbergh in the 28Z looking to follow. Lindbergh going to catapult up off the cushion in turn number 2, and he would take the lead away, working his way down into 3 and 4. Carlton and Steele still battling, and here comes Mr. Small Block, your current high point man, Pete Bicknell, working his way on the inside of Chris Steele up off of the corner, then going to work on Fast Freddie Carlton for position, and he would sit in the number 2 spot, not waste any time, nose out ahead of Lindbergh for the number 1 position, but Lindbergh says, I don't think so, I'm battling back off the cushion. Okay, maybe I don't have enough. At that time, though, in turn number 2, he does, as Pete Bicknell still trying to run right with him, working his way into the west end of the speedway. The 28 of Gary Lindbergh holding on to the race lead, but here comes Bicknell working it down low, trying to take the pass off of him. Eric Rudolph working his way up through the field as Fast Freddie Carlton has to take evasive action, almost getting into the left rear of the 19 of Ryan Susi. Then Steele and Brockman come together for a second as Brockman's starting to work his way up through the field as he goes past Freddie Carlton. Some close quarter racing here in this one is Bicknell holding on to the race lead. Lindbergh still there in second. Brockman continuing to work his way up through the field as he pushes underneath the 71 of Mike Bowman for the number 3 spot and works his way up through turn number 1 and 2, trying to crack the position, but Bowman still strong on the outside as Bicknell holds on to the lead. Lindbergh still trying to race with him now as Brockman gets underneath the 71 of Bowman. Looking for third. Bowman trying to paddle back up on the top side as Bicknell continues to get away up off at turn number 2. But now Lindbergh going to try to close in a little bit down the back straightaway. 4 car lengths separating first and second. Now here comes Bowman working on Lindbergh for the number 2 spot. He'll slide up in front of him, and that will take the momentum away from the 28 machine down the back straightaway. Brockman going to get in on the freight. 3 wide up off at turn number 4 as Lindbergh hits the 71 off the banking. Chad Brockman going to look to take advantage as the momentum stopped on the 28 for just a second. That allows the 3 machine to work his way underneath and look to take the number 2 spot as defending champion still trying to go to work. He's wheel to wheel with Lindbergh up off at turn number 4. Now gets enough momentum to push up towards the front with the 42 of Bicknell as he may have nosed out ahead down the back straightaway that time. Here's the 42 and the 3 going side by side up off of turn number 4 once again as at the line. Chad Brockman going to pick up the lead. Bicknell still trying to pedal. Final time up off of turn number 4. Checkered flag coming out. It's going to be close and it's going to go to Brockman. Chad Brockman picks up a huge win out at the Merrittville Speedway. But the 42 of Bicknell still holding on to the point lead as he would finish in second. Gary Lindbergh third. Eric Rudolph fourth. Mike Bowman would round out the top 5. Other winners on the night, Brad Rouse and the Sportsman, Novice Sportsman to Dave DiPietro, Mod Lights to Tyler Winger, Dave Bailey in the Hoosier Stocks, and Kyle Rothwell in the 4 cylinders. When we return on RPW, we'll head to the Ridge as they go Saturday night racing and see if Billy Dunn can pick up another one out at Can-Am.
If you're like me, your to-do list never ends. But with just one phone call, I protect my home, family, pets, and yard all year round. With Northeast Pest Control's Premier Home Protection Program, I don't have to worry about bugs and pests, and I don't have to worry about harsh chemicals either. Now how about that want to-do list? Thanks, Northeast Pest Control.
Ants, termites, mice, or bees, call today for your free estimate.
With Northeast Pest Control, we guarantee you'll live pest-free.
Performance, quality, service. That's DMC Racing Products. Hundreds of name brand parts, competitive prices. That's DMC. DMC Racing Products, race to win.
Looking for outstanding service for your car, truck, or SUV? Speed's Garage is a family-run business providing the highest quality of auto care. From routine maintenance, brakes, engine, body, or paint work, you can trust the professionals at Speed's Garage. Speed's Garage has all the auto service you need, plus full towing for any vehicle. For championship service, go to Speed's Garage in Mellonville.
Welcome back to Race Pro Weekly as we head to the Glen Ridge Motorsports Park. Start you off with some sportsman action. Rocky Warner going to go underneath Brian Pesolano, looking for the race lead, and he would get it and pick up the win in the sportsman feature event. To the modifieds now. A couple of invaders in the field as Ronnie Johnson and Jesse Mueller making their way here, as it's going to be the 34 of Sean Pangman with the early race lead. Johnny Lutz looking up into the number 2 spot in the early going of this feature event as Josh Hohenforth going to work on the back bumper of the 34 of Jim Nagel. Off of turn number 4 is the Apollo Rocket looking to work his way up. Ronnie Johnson going to work on Richie Price as they come through turn number 3 and 4. Is Justin Bowler right there moving to the inside of him. He would take that spot away, working it down. Here's Mueller looking to go to the inside of RJ as well. Jeremy Wilder right there along with the 959 of Johnny Lutz as they move through positioning. Meanwhile, we got a battle for the lead as Bobby Farron starting to work on the 34 of Sean Pangman as the caution will come out for the 20 of Craig Hansen on the infield. Delaware restart as they work their way down the front stretch as Varon trying to push to the inside as Sean Pangman as a couple of cars come together. Johnny Lutz, Jeff Rockefeller, and the 6H of Josh Hohenforth together. That would bring out the caution. Off the restart, that puts Wilder up on the outside of row number 2 as it would be the 34 of Pangman back with the race lead coming off of the quarter. Varon trying to sit there behind him as he tries to look to take the race lead away. And this was a great battle up at the front. Ronnie Johnson, Justin Bowler still going at it as Varon dumps underneath the 34 of Pangman. He would be your new race leader here in this feature event. Jeremy Wilder starting to close in on him off at turn number 3 and 4, down to about 2 car lengths in the battle per second. Johnny Lutz, Richie Price right there up off at turn number 2 as well, as here comes the 959 barreling down on the outside. Justin Bowler and Ronnie Johnson still fighting hard together up in turn number 2. But Bobby Varon way out in the front of this one in the Dover Brake car number 00, trying to take the deficit away from Jeremy Wilder. He's way out in front of this one, and it would be Bobby Varon picking up the win in the feature event out at the Glen Ridge Motorsports Park. Jeremy Wilder would finish in second, Sean Pangman third, Jim Nagel fourth, and Jim Becker would round out the top 5. Other winners on the night, as you saw, Rocky Warner would grab the win in the Sportsman. Justin Knight would go to the Pro Stock victory lane. Cruisers to Pat McSpirit and Shiloh Boyce would grab the win in the Midgets. Last week at Can-Am, Riley Gill knocked off Billy Dunn from his perch of winning most of the races in 2016. Would Dunn be able to bounce back with a victory? Ryan Taylor and Luke Stewart going to lead the field to the green in the modified feature out at Chapman's Can-Am Motorsports Park. As in the early going, it would be Stewart going to the race lead as they work their way down the backstretch, and you know who'd be on the move right away. The number 9 of Billy Dunn, working it underneath Josh Van Brocklin for position, trying to chase down the 27 of Nick Webb as they would go to work on the 51 of Brady Gill up through turn number 2 this time, looking to crack the top 5 early. Dunn going to give Gill a little tap-tap-tap-a-roo on the way by as he worked his way off of the corner already into the top 5. As Dunn working on the inside now of last week's winner Ryan Bartlett, as he's right there with Ryan Taylor as well as Van Brocklin going to fight with Bartlett for position up off the turn number 2 as they work their way down the backstretch. Meanwhile, Billy Dunn gets by another one as he would sneak by Luke Stewart for position up into the top 5, starting to chase him down early and often in this one as he works to the inside of the 27 of Nick Webb and now looks to set his sights on race leader Patrick Dupree at the front. Roy Bresnahan working up on the outside of Ryan Bartlett through turn number 3 and 4 this time as they work their way down the front stretch. Meanwhile, as that happens, Dunn catches the 24 of Dupree, working their way up off of turn number 3 and 4. Dupree doing a great job sticking it up on the outside lane, but Billy Dunn just biding his time and waiting to pounce off of turn number 4 as Dunn looking to close the gap as they come through turn number 1 and 2 this time. Dupree going to get away and continue to roll his momentum as the caution comes out for the 0-2 of Roy Bresnahan, and that may have been the dagger that the 24 did not want to see as Billy Dunn goes to the lead up on the outside of turn number 1 and 2, and you knew you weren't catching him at that point as Billy Dunn out at the front. Here's Josh Van Brocklin working his way to the inside of the 24 Dupree for second as Billy Dunn picks up another feature event win out at Can-Am. Josh Van Brocklin would finish in second, Riley Gill third, Ryan Bartlett fourth, and Nick Webb would round out the top 5. Other winners on the night, Anthony Stockman will grab the win in the Sportsman, Novice Sportsman to Kyle Simmons, Rick Duxis to the Pro Stocks, and Phil DeSarmo in the Thunder Cars. The racing at Accord Speedway in 2016 has been second to none. You have to wonder if that trend would continue, and I'd have to expect it would. Brett Graham will lead the field to the green in the feature event down in the Ulster County Bullring as the 46 machine going to work his way up through turn number 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and take the early race lead as Danny Tyler and Brad Rohap working for the number 2 spot down the back straightaway. Danny Creedon right there, Iron Mike Rickey trying to push his way up toward the front of the field in this one as Rohap still holding on to that number 3 spot down the back stretch. Cars starting to really push their way up. Joe Judge on the outside lane trying to make a move. Coming down off the corner, now battle for the race lead as Brett Graham trying to hold off down the backstretch. He would as the 46 would hold on to the front. Iron Mike Rickey really starting to push his way up on the inside lane as he would battle with Roadhouse for that spot up into turn number 3 and 4. And Iron Mike just going to swing it down to the inside lane, look to get by the 51, and now try to work his way up into the top 3 as the caution comes out with Danny Creedon involved as a number of cars on the back straightaway spun around. Off of the restart, here's Showtime. Danny Tyler going to work his way up in and pull the slide job as the 97T going to the front. Brett Graham going to try to cross over off of turn number 4, but can't do it, but he's going to feel pressure from Ricky now on the outside lane. Mike Rickey going to work his way up through the corner, trying to push down as he tries to get by Tyler, but Graham takes the race lead right back to him. Almost 3 wide down the back straightaway. Here's Brett Graham pushing back in front. Ricky still on the inside trying to make it happen, but that time he'll lose ground. Tyler and Ricky make a little bit of contact up through turn number 3 and 4 as Tyler slides up the racetrack, and that is a slide job by the 76 of Iron Mike. Now he goes to the outside of Brett Graham looking for the race lead off the corner, and Mike Rickey would be your new race leader. Anthony Perego working his way up through the field. He would get by the 97 of Danny Tyler and then go to work on Brett Graham looking for the number 2 spot up off of turn number 2 as they work their way down the backstretch. Working it off at turn number 4, Perego would still push to the inside lane, and when they made their way up through 1 and 2, he would grab the number 2 spot away, but this was all behind Iron Mike Rickey as he picks up win number 2 at Accord. Anthony Perego would finish in second, Danny Tyler third, Brett Graham fourth, and Brad Rohop would round out your top 5. Other winners on the night, Jimmy Wells would grab the win in the Sportsman, Rookie Sportsman to Chris Van Duzer, Heidi Hedden with the win in the Wingless Sprints, Tim Southard in the Pure Stocks, and the Junior Slingshots to Hunter Lapp. When we come back, we'll head to the high banks of the Fulton Speedway and give out our NISCA Performer of the Week. You won't want to miss it.
out here. Seconds mean everything. That's why, in here, we work so hard to shave them. When a second matters, science matters. Mobil 1, energy lives here.
Where is it that going green is going strong? Where trees are planted so emissions can be cut down. Where clean ethanol blend fuels race cars and waste oil never goes to waste. Where is it that the sun comes up and we put it to work, and the passionate fans are just as passionate about helping out? Where? Nowhere but NASCAR. Learn what small steps you can take to make a big difference at NASCAR.com/green.
If you are a tracker series that would like to be highlighted on Race Pro Weekly, email us at show@raceproweekly.com. Welcome back to Race Pro Weekly. Fulton Speedway modified action would see the 14 of Brett Wright take the early race lead as the 25 of Caitlin Heil up on the top side as well as they come around and click off lap number 1. Take a look at this battle between Larry White, Ryan Phelps, Chris Heil, and the 42 of Pat Ward as they would go 4 wide along with Mike Bowman up through turn number 4. Contact down the front stretch between Ward and Phelps. Phelps spins in front of the field. Everybody gets around. Good evasive action. Battle for the lead now is Billy Whitaker and Tim Kerr going to go Splitsville on the 14 of Brett Wright as Whitaker takes the race lead down the back straightaway. Whitaker still working up off of turn number 4 as they bring it down the front straightaway. Tim Sears Jr. looking to get involved into the number 3 spot as well. And here's Chris Heil working his way up through the field as Tim Kerr continues to chase down the 109 of Whitaker. That wouldn't be enough, though, as Billy Whitaker going to pick up the win out at the Fulton Speedway. And you can tell he's happy doing the roof dance up in the front as Billy the Kid goes to victory lane. Tim Kerr would finish in the number 2 spot. Third would be the Heil driver, Chris Heil. Fourth, Tim Sears Jr. and Pat Ward would finish in 5th. Other winners on the night, Sportsman would go to Ron Davis III. Kevin Cook would grab the win in the late models. Tori Stottinger would pick up the win in novice number 1. Novice Sportsman feature number 2 to Kyle Perry. And Chris Panofsky in the 4 cylinders. Last week on Race Pro Weekly, we highlighted 3 legends coming in with the All-Star Circuit of Champions Series. While we were there, we also caught up with the current point leader on the series, Dale Blaney.
Dale, we're about 3/4 of the way through the season. How would you describe your season so far?
Up and down. We've had good moments for sure. We've had a few bad moments, but overall not bad. We just haven't been as consistently fast as what we have the last couple of years. But you know, we got about 6 more weeks, 7 more weeks of the year, and hopefully we can finish strong.
Now, taking a look, you guys travel all over the country. How tough is that week in and week out, not knowing where you're going to be next?
We know most of where we're going. You know, I haven't been here in 15 years. Grandview the other night, I hadn't been there in about 15 years. So, I mean, it's all good. I love going to new places, different places. But I get home every week, pretty much to Ohio, except for 3 or 4, weeks out of the year. So it's really not bad. The travel's not nearly as bad as racing a whole outlaw circuit. So it's fun to be on the road, though.
Taking a look, we are in the heart of modified country. Your dad, Lou, famous modified driver. What was the decision behind going sprint car racing instead of mods?
I don't know, really. Dave started in sprint cars, and he went that way. My dad started in sprint cars and, gravitated towards the modifieds there when Dave started racing some. So, I don't know. Sprint cars were just cool. I had an opportunity to race a sprint car, and never really got after the modifieds. I've run them 4 or 5 times in my life, and they're awful fun to drive, but these things are pretty neat.
Been doing this close to 30 years now. Are you looking at when you might hang up the helmet?
Nah, I think I didn't really start racing until I was 26, so I think this is year 27 racing, but nah, not really. I mean, the last 3 or 4 or 5 years have been as good as I have in my career, so I don't know. I think I got 3 or 4 more in me. to the point where if I don't have a really good ride and I don't feel competitive anymore and I'm not having any fun, that's when I know it'll be done. But hopefully I got 3 or 4 to go, I hope.
What's some of the biggest changes you've seen in all those years in the sprint cars?
I don't know. I mean, racing's racing. It's changed over the years. The cars have gotten quicker, faster, from point A to point B rather than years ago. Weight's changed a little bit on them. They've got a little bit lighter, but not really. I wouldn't say it's any worse to race them nowadays, and they feel a lot different racing them today than they did, 20 years ago. They feel different today than what they did 5 years ago with the tires and different stuff we have on them. So you're always got to adapt. And a new year's a new year, so you never know what they're going to throw at us tire-wise and wing-wise and combination-wise. But it's all staying the same. We all go around a circle and run 25, 30 laps.
It's now time for this week's NISCA Performer of the Week, and with his first win at Orange County Fair Speedway since 1996, it goes to the sensational one, Jimmy Horton. Horton is now eligible for the Performer of the Year award given out at the end of the season. That's all for this week's show. For the latest news, results, and photos, check out Race Pro Weekly online at www.raceproweekly.com, and be sure to follow us on Facebook, Twitter, YouTube, and Instagram. So for myself, Bobby Chalmers, Fast Eddie, Scott Morlock, Amber Chalmers, and everyone that helps put Race Pro Weekly together, thank you for watching this week's episode, and we'll see you next time.